I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few ground rules regarding board meeting public comment. Community members attending in person to provide public comments at the meeting must sign up at the door and give their full name, where they are from, and the subject of their comments. Please note that comments on agenda items will occur during the first comment section, with all other comments occurring during the second comment section. Kindly limit your comments to 5 minutes so there is time for anyone who would like to speak. We ask that all comments be respectful, as we are all family, friends, and neighbors. Thank you. And would anyone speaking please come up to the podium, and there's a microphone there for you. Okay, our first item on the agenda is a memorial resolution for Kathy L. Denman, who is a former board member. Whereas Kathy L. Denman served as a board member of the Tri-Valley Central School District, whereas Kathy L. Denman exemplified extraordinary commitment to the students at Tri-Valley Central School District, and whereas Kathy L. Denman passed away on September 6, 2022, be resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its thanks to Kathy L. Denman for her service, and be it resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its sympathy to the family of Kathy L. Denman during this time of mourning. Our next item up is correspondence. And Erin Long, Superintendent.
So I'm going to read an email we got last night from Claire Verber. It says, elected members of the Tri-Valley School Board, my name is Claire Verber and I am a senior at Tri-Valley. I am currently working on a community service project that will benefit a local Sullivan County cancer charity called Ride to Survive. My plan is to collect donations from the community members with the help of my soccer team for this charity. We will individually be collecting donations. On September 30th, 2022 at 4:15, the Varsity girls soccer team will host a pink out game against Sullivan West to spread awareness for breast cancer. At that game, there will be a donation box for the charity Ride to Survive and a 50-50 raffle with the support of the Cass Booster Club. Please come out to support us and this incredible cause. It is on September 30th.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is number 5, public comment session for items that are on tonight's agenda. I don't believe we had anyone sign up. Okay, so we'll move to the next item is number 6, presentations and guests, and we have an Eagle Scout project presentation. Could you please come up to the podium?
Hello, my name is Van Furman, and I am here to review the Eagle Scout project that I finished on September 11th. The project was a record sign for our track and field athletes, and I finished it on September 11th, the Sunday, and I have some pictures that show the progress throughout the project. So in this picture, we're putting in the sono tubes for holding the concrete that will hold the posts to hold the sign. This is some of our helpers who are painting this sign backing blue. This is the completed sign. This is us putting up the posts to hold the sign. This is us finishing putting up the sign parts. So when I attended a board meeting, I believe it was last school year and over the summer, I have received a letter stating that I will be reimbursed for all of the payments for the sign.
Did you submit? Do you want to give it to someone, or do
Yeah.
you have an invoice?
Who should I give it to?
The money man.
It's great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Looks great.
Looks great, man. Thank you.
Good job.
Great job.
I thank you for letting me have this opportunity to proceed in becoming an Eagle Scout. So thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Keith, if I may.
Sure.
You should be commended for what you did. It's a great project. And of course, you shut me off already.
No, you
I've already heard from a number of the athletes that is posted there, and they said that, wow, they were grateful that you did it, and it brought back memories for them. So thank you so much.
Okay. Moving along to the athletic director presentation. Jason?
But Van, great job. If anybody hasn't got a chance to look at it, please go over there. It's like it was meant to be there. Perfect placement, right? You did a great job selecting the graphics. You know, I know you had help from the family putting the stuff up, but it looks exactly like it's meant to be there. So fantastic job. For our fall sports season, we've had a good turnout at Varsity, JV, and modified levels overall. We have about 140 athletes participating right now. A team breakdown, girls varsity, we're at 21 participants. Boys varsity, we're at 14. Varsity football, last I counted was 26, roughly in there. Boys varsity cross country, 11. Girls varsity cross country, 7. Cheerleading, 8. Girls JV, 14. Girls modified, 11. Modified football, 21. And modified cross country, 7. One of the areas that we are focusing on right now is at the modified level, getting athletes who may not have played either youth sport or a sport for the school and getting them out or back out as athletes. So our registration is currently still open for the modified level because we're still looking to build those athletes and getting them now instead of getting them next year or the year after. So in general, we would have a closed registration by now, but we're still actively recruiting. I was in phys ed classes today. We're getting 7th and 8th graders, letting them know that there's still an opportunity to come out and trying to remove any of the barriers that they perceive that are there. We have a great advantage here in that we offer a 5 p.m. bus. So athletes are here, they can participate in sports and then catch the bus home. So telling them that and letting them know that pretty much except for contests, we can take care of them getting to school and home from practices. So we're looking to build, obviously, girls modified, we're looking to add 2 or 3 more at least. And we're looking to make it the best experience possible for those groups. We're still actively looking to hire a boys modified soccer coach. Once that is in place, we still are going to have to recruit some more boys because we still don't have enough for a team. But again, it's very important that we give it our best effort, not only for the athletes that are going to play at the modified level, but to maintain a program at the varsity level. So we can't grab an athlete as a freshman and expect them to be competitive at the varsity level. We have to build it from the ground up. Homecoming pep rally. We're gonna do that on October 3rd, Monday. We're gonna do it 9th period. All students, grades 7 through 12, will be invited for that, and all of our school teams will be recognized during that pep rally. At the end of that week, Mr. Pulley has planned some events, but which include a bonfire. On Friday, October 7th, we're going to have some hot dogs, some music, and a bonfire to kind of end the night over at the track parking lot. As far as the homecoming contest or the contest during the homecoming week, we've got a lot of contests in that week. So on Monday, we have boys varsity soccer versus Burke. It's a 5:30 game. Whenever you see a 5:30 game, that is at the request of the visiting district because of transportation issues. So we would prefer it earlier, but we are accommodating. On Tuesday, we have varsity cross country. We're inviting Fallsburg and Livingston Manor here for a 4:15 race. The same day, girls varsity will have Chester here with a 5:30 start. On Thursday, we'll have another girls varsity home game versus Burke. That will be a 5:30 start. Friday, we'll have boys varsity versus Downsville. And that will be a 4:30 start. We're looking to give our boys team some opportunities to play schools of relative size. It's not very easy, in Sullivan County because most schools close to our size no longer field teams. So we're looking in other sections, so Downsville being one of them. So we'll have a competitive game on Friday, and then on Saturday we have our home varsity football game versus Fallsburg, and that's a 1 p.m. start. For our senior recognitions for the fall, we have cross country, which is next Wednesday, September 28th, and that's versus Eldred and Monticello. Football will be on Saturday, October 8th, and that will be the homecoming game versus Fallsburg. Girls soccer will be on Monday, October 17th versus Eldred, and our boys soccer will round it out on Thursday, October 20th versus Chapel Field. All of those dates, now that I present them to you, will be on my daily email until those dates happen. As far as winter sports, fully anticipate having all of our winter's coaching positions filled in advance of the season. We'll be holding a mandatory coaches meeting prior to the season where we discuss coaching expectations, and coaches are given all the information they need to be successful during their season. Something we started a couple of years ago, but it's really developed into is using Google Classroom for our coaches. So in the classroom, they basically can have access to anything that they need at any time as long as they have Wi-Fi. So we put things in there like the coach's handbook, the NISFA handbook, which if we were to print it out is about 500 pages, sports standards, lightning, thunder policy, pretty much anything that they have a question about could be in there or is in there. So to inform our coaches, and to have them follow the best practices. As far as winter, all right, we're just starting fall, but the winter sports are just around the corner. So varsity and JV sports start on November 14th. Registration for those will open up on October 15th. So we're less than a month for that. And modified sports will start on November 21st, and registration will open up on October 22nd. Does anyone have any questions?
Good.
Jason, first, thank you for all you're doing. The kids are having a good fall. There's an excitement about the school that has certainly been missing. So thank you for that. I wanted to get some clarity. I'm hearing from some students that they are recognizing winning teams on announcements, and then I'm hearing some students say they aren't. Is that still a practice?
So it is a practice. Those announcements are generated by the individual coaches, right? So we'll say girls varsity soccer tonight. We're having a fantastic game over there. It was 6-1 when I left, right? So that announcements in the morning would be generated by the individual coach. So if there's some being announced and some aren't, that would be something that I could address with individual coach.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to say thank you for the emails that you do send out. I find them extremely helpful, very informative. If a parent isn't receiving them now, how do they go about getting on your list?
So if it's a parent or anybody within the community, if they email me at jasoncloss@trivalleycsd.org, I will respond. I'll let them know that they've been added. That list is generated from pretty much any student that attends our school, any parent that has, almost every parent that has registered their athlete in the last 4 or 5 years, and community members that have reached out. So that goes out to quite a bit of people. But if anybody wants to be on that list and for whatever reason aren't, they can send me an email and I'll add them to the list.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have one.
If I may, we're talking about the events happening later in the evening. I think it's a good moment to bring up a lighting at the track, at the facility. It would go a long way for safety for everybody, flexibility to our students, and more importantly, for all our kids at Tri-Valley, we could have more events over there and get them outside and have more of a good time. And I think in fresh air would be great. So I'm going to be pursuing that at some time. So if anybody's got any ideas, anyone, please let me know. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
Jason, thank you for everything that you're doing. I have a question regarding encouraging the modified youth kids. So when you talked to them about the transportation issue, do you feel that was one of the major concerns and reasons why kids weren't coming out for modified sports and they had some reassurance that there was transportation? Or do you think there's something else we as a district need to address to encourage modified sports?
So the one thing I wanted to do when I spoke to them is if that is why they're apprehensive to come out or their parents are apprehensive to sign them up, I wanted to let them know that there was a bus to bring them home. So that would help solve that issue. So I think that with our 5 p.m. bus, it basically will take them wherever they live. I think we're doing our part. I think with offering up, we started last year with the transportation form, which will allow multiple families to cover each other as far as bringing athletes home. I think that helps. And what I told them was if they have questions or they need, some information, just stop in, right? And it's not that we would love to have 50, 60 more 7th and 8th graders come out for our teams. But truthfully, if we can get 3 or 4 on every team, which gives us that buffer, right? Especially we're still working through COVID and the kids are going in and out, and it just gives us a little bit more of a buffer, and we don't have to reschedule and cancel so much. And not to mention, the more that they're here from that, that 3 to 5, the more we can, impress upon them, being good citizens, working hard, doing all those things. And we don't have to again, wait until their 9th or 10th grade when we finally get a hold of them to impress those things on them.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. Next item is secondary school principal, Mr. Pulley.
Good evening. I want to start by saying that we have great students, great staff, and great teachers. So I'm going to give you a very quick snapshot of opening a school this year and what our focus and priority is really looking towards this year. Go ahead. Go ahead. School enrollment. Right now we're at 437 total students, grades 7 through 12, slightly up from last year. But in truth, we're still trying to track some students that we're carrying on our rolls that we have not heard that they've enrolled in other area schools. Our faculty and staff. At the secondary, we have a total of 68, which includes myself and Mrs. Toomey as administrators, our administrative assistants, and guidance staff. We have 53 teachers, 2 teaching assistants, and 8 teacher aides. The 2 notes below that is the transition that we've been through probably, certainly for the last 4 years, but most notably the last 2. You'll see this year we brought in about 22% new teachers, and last year we brought in an additional 20%. That's a lot of people to bring in and get them up to speed and knowledgeable about our community and our curriculum. Since I've been here, we've always been about ensuring and making sure everyone knows that they matter. These are our school expectations that we hold our students accountable to every day. Go ahead. We held an opening day assembly with grades 7 through 12. It was wonderful. It was our opportunity to kind of give them a vision of what we were expecting from them coming this year, as well as to welcome them back. I think it went over very, very well. The following week, we met with each of the grade level classes where Mrs. Toomey reviewed the student handbook and the expectations for behavior. COVID has not been kind to our children. This is the 4th academic year that is being impacted by COVID, and it shows its way in many, many different ways. And when I look at the priorities that we have, it's really changed our kids. And it's going to take us a number of years really to get back to where we were before the COVID pandemic, rather. But so our motto this year is can do. And we're impressing all of the students. Believe it or not, and this is COVID related, they don't have confidence in their own abilities academically anymore, nor do they really want to challenge themselves academically. It's really disappointing to me or disturbing when we've got students that are refusing to take courses simply because they feel that they're academically too rigorous for them. Go ahead. The reality is that our kids have lost their ability to believe in their own ability to learn. So this was part of the letter I sent out over the summertime to all of our families. These are our 4 priorities. It is about getting back to high expectations. The real challenge is during the COVID years, we lowered our academics. We lowered the amount of curriculum that we were giving them, as well as lowered the amount of independent work that they were asked to do. And that was so that we could get through that time. So now we're back to school 100%, and trying to impose those high expectations for students. Secondly, increase student participation. You just heard from Jason. A lot of their lack of wanting to participate is a direct result of COVID, and it has hurt our greatest programs, our FFA programs, our FBLA programs, our FCCLA programs, our athletic programs, because during that time, unfortunately, academics in school wasn't the number one priority anymore. They found other things to fill in those hours and minutes, and a lot of it dealt with gaming, and that's unfortunate. Student attendance. Last year, and I'm sad to say, okay, that we had 42% of our students who were chronically absent from school. That means that they missed more than 10 days of school over the course of the year. Now, I know no other way than to be honest, the average number of days that were missed were 32 days a year. So you take that on top of COVID interrupting their learning, interrupting the process of learning, and it brings us to where we are today. And we are going to continue to support our kids with their mental health, with whatever needs they have as we get through this. This is just an example. We have a great FFA program. We were the #1 chapter in New York State last year in a 3-star national charter rating. We're struggling to get kids to come out and to participate. We're probably sending the smallest group of students to the national convention and competition than we have in years. I believe we've got 7 or 8 going. We would love to see those numbers get back up to where they were in terms of being robust. We also have 2 teachers that have received state and national recognition for their efforts. So we've got the programs. We've got to get the kids back into the programs. So how are we going to do that again? It's a restoration process. So it's keeping those high expectations out there for the students, helping them to understand that their first priority is academics. And that's what they come to school for, is to learn and to avail themselves of the academics that are offered. We're really functioning on what we call the executive functioning skills, and they have lost this over time. And I'm talking about students who have the highest needs to our students who are our greatest learners. We're seeing this across the board. Things like organization, their time management, prioritizing, goal setting. Most importantly, their ability to persevere through a tough challenge or a tough task, rather than throwing their hands up and saying, I'm not gonna take this course, or I'm gonna take the 0. The other big change we've made this year is with our assignments and due dates. Teachers will give students due dates. That's when they are expected to have them in. We had a bad habit that got worse over COVID of extending those due dates, and we would get to the end of marking periods and all of a sudden kids were scrambling to get the work in, which only upped the stress for that child. So we are being very, very specific in our due dates and making sure that students are supported to get those assignments in. A little bit about academics. This year we're offering 42 college credits. We are approved for 51. There's the list of the different college courses that we offer. We continue to offer a 7th and 8th grade acceleration program in math and science. We have a very, very robust offering of electives for our students. In fact, when we had the state senator in last year and the congressman in last year, the one thing that they were amazed about Tri-Valley was the number of our programs and offerings for a small school that we gave to our students. Sadly, students are not choosing to go in to taking the electives. And the sad thing about it is the electives are the fun things, Those are the things where kids take their passions and things that they're interested in or things they get exposed to and have, some fun in learning. We're in year 2 of our civics and social justice course. As you've seen already, what that has resulted at the end of year 1 with our students has been incredible. I'm glad we're doing it a second year, but even with the positive program, we have fewer students this year that are willing to take civics and social justice. And if there's one course in this school that prepares them for their future, I believe it's this course, because it's a culmination of a number of different courses and activities and learnings over time. This year, we are offering our first AP course in computer science, and that is in collaboration with Carnegie Mellon University. Okay. So what are the changes? The big ones, we've got 14 new staff. Cell phones, we really took a very hard look at this. Cell phones have become the #1 worst distraction and disruption within learning, accentuated by COVID. We have parents who are texting kids and calling kids during school, during their classes. We need kids to be ready to learn and to have their focus and their attention. So this year, we are not allowing 7th and 8th graders to have cell phones in their possession throughout the school day. In 9 through 12, we have limited it and gone back to only using them in the hallways as they're passing and in the cafeteria. And hats, with our new code of conduct, hats are now allowed as long as they don't obstruct for facial recognition. And the last big area is study halls. We've gone back to having an academic purpose in a study hall. So if you're in a study hall, you're expected to be prepared, you're expected to have work to do. You're not just sitting around and passing time. Coming attractions, the open house for grades 8 through 12. That's next week, Thursday, from 6 to 8. We'll be following the student schedule that evening, starting with a program in the theater. And then homecoming week is the 3rd through the 8th. As Jason mentioned, we'll have a cookout and a bonfire, and then we'll have a dance on Saturday evening, both of which events we are offering transportation to students who indicate that they have a need for transportation. Again, it's getting back to can do. Don't give me excuses. Don't tell me why you can't. Trust in your ability, trust in your teachers, and get it done. So with that, any questions that I can answer?
I get a question. The attendance number, my eyes bugged out.
Yep.
As a parent, I couldn't even imagine that level of absence for so many children. What do you attribute that to? Are parents, what is our procedure for parents? If my kid got, say, 5 absences, I'd be having a problem with that. When they get to 10, 15, 20, what's happening?
There's calls, we do interventions, we send letters, we reach out. It really is sad. And I will tell you, and Brian was a senior last year, 55% of our seniors were chronically absent. So it's just something that, it was an issue before COVID. It became a much bigger issue in COVID, which now requires a significant amount of attention to get it back to acceptable levels. Because if they're not sitting in the seats, they're not learning.
Anyone else?
If I may, Mr. Pulley, it was very informative. I appreciate that. How do you think that we can get these kids excited to get back into what they should be doing? And is there any ideas you have, and anything that maybe the board can assist in?
I think we're going to have to persevere through some time. The attendance, at some point the board has got to take a stand and say attendance is important. It's again about having those expectations and holding people accountable for those. I know we've gotten off to a great start, probably the best start to a school year in the 5 years that I've been here. The kids are phenomenal. Okay, so that's not the issue. It's helping them to have a picture of themselves for the future and see how what they're doing today relates to that, but also getting parents to support that, okay? And rather than, allowing a kid to be excused early from school, let's challenge, let's see, is there something else? Is there something more my child can do? That's really what we've got to do.
Is there any thoughts of maybe possibly have more family nights to get the parents, obviously it's the parents as well, and more family nights with them, bring them in and have more events for them? Or
one of the things that we were doing prior to COVID were, working with Deb Kelly, working to try to put on monthly, programs for parents that were informational and of interest, if you will. They were not well attended. You're going to hear from Jen with the elementary kids. Parents are always, there. When they get up to the high school level,
drops off.
It drops off significantly.
You mentioned about kids and not challenging themselves, not taking the more rigorous courses. Was that electives of all type or solely the college credit ones?
All.
Okay.
Yeah.
For students, what are their options when it comes to college credit as far as paying for them? For every student, is it always on the parents? If you're on free and reduced lunch, I know some districts pick up the cost for like college class at Sullivan. What is our program here?
I tell kids it's the greatest scholarship that they and their parents can give, because if you're on free and reduced lunch, it's $25 for the course.
Okay.
And I believe this year's course is like 197 for 3 credits. And if they're SUNY credits, if you go to a SUNY school, they accept them. Even if you go to a private school, they will take those credits as well. So we've had kids in the past graduating with low 40s, high 30s, who are cutting their college programs by a half a year or a year, which is just amazing.
Thank you.
Mr. Pulley, one more thing. First off, thanks for the presentation. I thought that was great. Secondly, the parents have to contribute, obviously, but the staff turnover is going to cause kind of that breakdown of the relationship. And as you pointed out, there's a good amount of turnover. And I remember when Neil Bright was a teacher in high school here, students sought him out. He was that good. Like, everybody wanted to take at least one of his classes. And until we get back to that, where we have those teachers, actually, Mr. Haynes, I think you're one of them, where they're targeted. The kids want to go in those classes. Until we get that long-term employee, I don't know if we get there. And that's on all of us. That's.
But understand that some of the turnover was through retirement. So yeah, they had built a long history. I will tell you, to the credit of our new teachers, and even our teachers who have been here, they hear relationship is the first and foremost important thing. Our new teachers are going above and beyond, and not only trying to get their feet grounded, but to reach out to kids and interact with kids. I dare say that there's probably not another school who proportionately has a greater percentage of students who spend their lunch or their study halls with teachers during their lunchtime or their prep time. So, but I agree, as they get better known and kids get to know them. But, you look at our athletic programs, our numbers are down. And it isn't because, we've got bad athletic programs. It's kids have found other things that are of greater interest to them. And until we can convince them that, this is better for you, they're going to continue down that same path. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pulley. Elementary school principal, Ms. Williams. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. So it's interesting to sit here and listen to my colleague, Mr. Pulley, speak, because really I think as an elementary school principal, it's important for me to have a clear understanding as to what trends are happening in the secondary school, because it's my job to fix that. So Mr. Pulley, help is on its way, because, you know, with our opening to this school year, it has been an amazing one for our kids. Yes, we had 2 years of really non-traditional type of learning and experiences for our students. And for the most part, it is behind us, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. We've had a great opening year to our school year. At this point, we're able to fully staff the building. I have one position I'm currently seeking, but it is important, as you were saying, Mr. Diamond, to try to keep as much of the staff with us from year to year. And at the elementary school, it's a little bit easier for our students to be able to make those relationships and have those connections with their teachers because they're with the same teacher all day long. So that really helps us a little bit more. And really the idea that some of our teachers are able to stay in their position and be able to, this year we're experiencing some new curriculum, but be able to teach the same subject every year where they really feel comfortable in what it is that they're doing. In front of you, I just don't want to forget to mention, you have a calendar book there. It is one of the gifts that were given out to our teachers for the year. I ask, please, a little side commercial, please save the sleeves so that the insert can be replaced from year to year. There are some pre-filled activities and such that are already in there for you. Thank you, Erin. So we opened up our school year with some orientations as well as an open house. The orientations take place prior to the school year. That is for grades pre-K and kindergarten. It's always important to get those guys in with their families. We want to be able to have that introduction with them immediately before we open up the school doors. And of course, it's always important because they come with a lot of stuff. And we don't want those our littlest people trying to get on a bus with all those big backpacks and boxes of tissues. As we met with the parents for orientations as well as open house, there was a huge stress on the idea of attendance. And yes, we all know that during COVID, we were encouraging parents to keep their children at home. And now we're doing the opposite. Now we're encouraging parents to please send them in. We're encouraging them that if it's just a little bellyache, if we just have one symptom, to please send them in and we'll monitor them, giving the classroom teachers the heads up that there's something going on or Johnny woke up a little off, please keep an eye on him. For those of you who have had contact with Miss Bertholoff, she's wonderful. Her bedside manner is wonderful. You go in there and she makes you wash your hands. She gives you crackers and then she'll check your ears and nose and everything. So we really encourage parents to know that their children are in really great hands down there. And that, you know, if they doubt that maybe something might be off, to just give the teachers a heads up, but to send the children anyway. And that we'll take it from there. Of course, if we're talking multiple symptoms, that's a different kind of conversation. But again, we really want to get back to that idea of some of those basic characteristics that are going to help them as they get to the secondary school for Mr. Pulley and for themselves. With our attendance being a focus, what do we have that's leading the students back to us? Well, they get to eat in the cafeteria. And for 2 years, unfortunately, the students had to eat within their cohort, within their classrooms. So this was the first year for some students that started with us in kindergarten that they were able to ever eat in the cafeteria now as second graders. If you can only imagine the excitement and the life that brings to our school. And for the most part, they've made the transition very well. If you walk by, it's a little loud, but it's certainly not at the voice level that you would expect when you put a group of 7-year-olds together in one big space with treats. So they are eating in the cafeteria this year, and that was explained during our open house and orientations, as well as ice cream days are back. For those of you who are aware of how exciting ice cream is, we do limit them to 1 day per grade. If not, students would be eating ice cream every day and they would never eat their lunch, because that's usually the battle that my cafeteria aides experience in making sure that they eat their lunch before they eat their ice cream. But that's an exciting thing for the students to be able to really try to get them in. And then birthday celebrations. During our time, during the pandemic, we were unable to have families come in and celebrate birthdays with our youngest children. And we know how important birthdays are. You get to an age you want to forget about it. But for our little people, they're still very excited about their birthdays. So we are able to have families come in with arrangements being made with their classroom teachers, of course, so that we can be sure that we're putting the emphasis on the academics, but not forgetting that it's their birthday. Erin? During our open house, we have to do 2 separate nights for our open house. We divide it according to the building. We have a K2 evening, and then we have a 3 through 6. And for both nights, I am really proud to say that our community resources came to us. And as we all know, the school is certainly the center of our community, and it showed this night. We have a list of different community organizations that were set up in our elementary cafeteria where parents, either on the way in or on the way out, they had no choice but to visit some of these things. And it was the opportunity for them to see all of the different activities in the community that their children could participate in. So to include, we had the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Tri-Valley Little League, Never Sink Playground. In fact, we actually had a little commercial during both of the open houses so that we could get the community to be aware of the community park. And I know that that was a presentation that the board had, and we had another one during the open houses. In addition, we had the PTO, Bear Cub Basketball, ASO Soccer, and the Daniel Pierce Library that was there as well. So if you can only imagine how packed the building was, between all of the teachers being there to welcome parents and certainly talk to them about the expectations for the school year, on top of all of our math and humanities teachers, plus we had our community there. And again, it was a wonderful opportunity for the community to be able to come together, and for parents who were either new to the district, whether they just moved in or they had a first time having a school-age child, it was an opportunity for them to see all of the outside of school participation that their children can get involved in. And of course, our partnership with the Daniel Pierce Library is something that is going to be continuing this year. We have the Daniel Pierce Library that will be working with our UPK students again, and their UPK students get their very first library card. Erin? Within the first few days of school, when our students actually arrive in the building, the first day is always fun because we got to get them in and we got to get them to the classrooms. Certainly, our registration office has been very helpful in taking pictures of all of our students to make sure that we're able to recognize them. Oftentimes, you'll find a student on the sidewalk who won't tell you anything about them, and you have to try to figure out what class you're supposed to walk them to. But we were able to get through all of that. So once we were able to get them in the building, every grade level I met with Mr. Biebenroth, our new assistant principal, and we reviewed the BEAR expectations. And those BEAR expectations, they don't change from year to year. They are associated with our BEAR award, and that BEAR award never ended, ever. We will be continuing that because these are really the focus of what it is within each student's work habits and character that will make them successful academically and in whatever endeavors they choose to do. But that is something that happens on the Hill with a presentation with the students there, of course, as I did with their families. We stress the idea of them being present, even if I have to lure them with the ice cream day. But we were able to do that for all of our grades. And our first day of school attendance was at a 98.86%. And that little bit extra were students who were waiting for requests for records, students who we know left the district. They just have not actually finalized paperwork with the district in which they moved to. I'll tell you, paying attention to the attendance daily, it has declined, most recently because we are being impacted by COVID in the elementary school. So we will continue to monitor that. But everything said, we're still focusing on the idea of getting kids in. Not only do we have to break the habits of some of the students, but we have to break the habits of some of the parents as well. Sometimes it's just easier to let them stay home. But like I said, we've got it from there. Just get them to us. Again, in the first few days, we concentrated on the health and safety of our students. Part of what we just do as just growing people is we teach them how to sneeze properly, how to cough properly, how to use tissues, how to wash their hands. And those are all part of just the routines and just the rapport that teachers spend time doing in the classroom on those first few days. And we're going to continue to emphasize that. We had our bus drill evacuations as well as our emergency fire drills. We've been certainly putting on some of those so that our students are very well aware and comfortable with what some of those sounds sound like on the bus when the back door opens, and how to get off from the back of the bus. I always have to thank the secondary school students because they are always helpful. They're one of the ones that are helping to get the kids to sit then slide and not just jump, because they just like to get there and they try to jump off. But as you can even see from the picture there's always secondary school kids to catch them in case they're not following the directions. Some other fun facts for you: enrollment right now is at 461 students. That is down, and I know that last year, for those of you who were on the board, that was many discussions regarding staffing. So 461 is a decline, and we've seen somewhat of a steady one. For every few kids we lose, we get some new registrants, but overall the trend has certainly gone down. Our UPK, though, is not at capacity. That's something different than where we were last summer. Last summer, we had to go ahead and come up with an additional section of pre-K. We're having those conversations as to whether or not we're going to lose a section. This year, we're not filled to capacity. So if you know any young students out there whose parents are still just not enrolling them just yet, the parent is not ready, encourage them to send their child, because there certainly is room in our program for them. Our fourth grade bathrooms are open. I know that I'm sure there's some kind of construction update, but I'll give you one myself. We're very excited that our bathrooms are open. As soon as the doors opened, the students flocked in there. It was amazing how many times they had to go to the bathroom, but they just wanted to go check it out. They were really beautifully done. And so I certainly thank everybody who contributed to getting that back to us. And then Hightower word seating, another part of the construction improvements that happened this summer, had to do with this additional kind of high rise. I like to describe it as kind of a cafe seating. Right now, there's no seats per se, but our students also sit all day long. So right now, they have the option of standing to eat, or they can sit. It's certainly an option for either one. But I needed to figure out a way to acclimate our fifth graders, who, again, haven't eaten in the cafeteria in 2 years, and also acclimate our fifth and sixth graders to eating in the secondary school cafeteria, as they do eat in the high school one, which is where what we're calling the Hightower seating. And students can win this reward for making good choices, using their manners, being caught basically doing something good. They get this blue card, and it is good for them to go with a friend to go and eat at the Hightower seating. So just a little incentive for them. Again, want to get them in school, want to get them while they're here making good choices, and catch those good choices so that we can reinforce those good decisions that they are making. As far as some of our academics are concerned, we certainly cannot focus on the academics without considering all the social and emotional needs of our students. And, right now we are doing a big push with our ruler continuation of that curriculum. We did slow down our pace a little bit just to give our teachers a chance to kind of catch their breath. But we are focusing on two components. One is called a charter, which traditionally is like the rules of the classroom. Those are kind of adopted as now what is called a charter through ruler, and we're focusing on the mood meter. And what that is those colors that you see there posted, where it's oftentimes teachers will be able to check in with their students. And the students, if they can't necessarily verbalize, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling hungry, I'm feeling mad, they have the ability to actually point out on this chart where they're feeling. And then that offers the teachers or even any of our counselors the opportunity to discuss with them why they're feeling that way and work on strategies and coping strategies to get them back into what we like to be everybody to be in, which is the green, which is the happiness, which is the excited, all those good feelings. So we're continuing that. And then, of course, our reading program. And the reading program is certainly something that our teachers have been very eager. They've been asking a lot of really great questions instructionally about how it is and how to do some of these things. We had a staff meeting just the other day where they had an opportunity to meet with their grade levels to review what they've learned so far. And I got a list of questions. They're certainly asking some really smart questions and ones that are really driven to student success. They want to know, where do we take the kids from here? So we'll continue to work through that and giving the teachers all the support and professional development that they need in order to really embrace this program to make our students successful. Erin? And finally, just a couple of upcoming events besides all of the other fun things are certainly our student council is back up and running. You can stand by for sneaker night days. And sorry, Mr. Hartman, to shout you out, but I know how much you loved sneaker nights. Mr. Hartman used to be the DJ for our sneaker night, so you keep pumping and you're going to be DJing for us. Yeah. There it is. So just some other things to note. We have our Fire Prevention Day, our Unity Day, as well as some assemblies that are going to be coming in as well. And thank you very much. We will continue with our year of inspiring success together.
Thank you. Any questions?
If I may, very inspirational. I have a question for the entire district, though. Health of our students. Do we have enough sanitation stations around the school? I mean, that's where it all starts. And do we have enough staff to take care of the issue? in the evening hours for cleaning the stations and stuff, the classrooms, because they all should be sanitized. That has been an issue over the years, meaning the health of our kids. And right now, she mentioned it, there's a lot of them that have it. And I think a lot of the parents have it as well. So do we have that? Do you feel we have enough of that in your area as well?
We certainly do, Mr. Dean. Ever since the pandemic did strike, we have these huge, they look like big 5-gallon tubs of paint, but they're big 5-gallon tubs that have disinfecting wipes. And so constantly we're certainly refreshing those. We also have hand sanitizing stations. Before the kids eat, they wash their hands. They have the hand sanitizer on their way in. They have the hand sanitizer on the way out. And I continue to encourage my teachers that any time that there is a transition, that the sinks and the soap within their classrooms be refilled. And I can't tell you how many times a day we get a call in the office that asks for more soap. So we certainly have everything that we need in order to be able to make sure that the students are doing the best that they can to be able to keep everybody healthy.
I do know when it happens in school, they take it home and educate their children. I remember when the seatbelt law came about, and every time my grandchildren or my children got in the car, they embarrassed me. I had to put my seatbelt on. So they do teach us.
And that's our hope.
That's a good thing. Thank you.
Anybody else? Can I say sure? Real quick, first, thank you. That was great. The staff has been super pleasant outside the school. Drop off. A lot of parents in the community commenting on it. So thank you. That's very refreshing. And the birthday, letting the parents come in, that it sounds silly. We're the ones that hear a lot of the, that was I can't even go in to see my kid on his birthday. That's huge. Thank you. I know it's a process, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Next up on the agenda is the Cast Booster Club presentation.
Hi, everybody. Hold it the whole time? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for having us here. We're all here from CAST. My name is... Help. No, it's okay. That's better. My name is Diana Hartman. I'm the president of the CAST Booster Club. This is Tina Schultz. She's the vice president. Deb Sweat, who everybody knows, and Tanya Hugler. And we're here tonight to just present something that we'd like to donate to the school. For anybody that doesn't know about the CAST Booster Club, which many of you here tonight do, some of the things that we have done are decorating for the senior recognitions and buying all the seniors monogrammed senior bags, leaving food for the kids on the bus when they make it to sectionals or to states, feeding the kids in the theater. We run lots of concession stands when we have the help to do so. Decorated for the sports banquet last year, decorating for homecoming and the senior recognitions. And any athlete that makes it to sectionals or states, we buy them t-shirts or sweatshirts. So we've done a lot to try to help boost, spirit. And so we have an idea that we would like to propose tonight to make our small school feel and look big. So we've been doing research for a few years, and Tina concluded it and has...
So some of you may or may not have seen during homecoming week, CAST, we buy solo cups,
Yes.
Lots and lots of solo cups. And we put Go Bears and TVCS #1. And with that, painstakingly to us, is cut fingers,
Yes.
a lot of cursing. We get the last cup up and they all fall down and we have to start all over again.
And then they all get thrown away.
Right, and we throw them away every year because we've had to cut them to jam them in the fence. And so what we have come up with is decorative cups. They're permanent. They're not really cups. They're plastic squares. And as you have seen, these are the two that we would like to try to get up for this homecoming. So with the approval, we can order them tonight and they would be here. If you look at Home of the Bears, unfortunately, we can't change the colors on the site that we use. However, I can explain to you that where it's black, that would be blue, and the red would stay red and the white would stay white. So the Home of the Bears would mostly be blue with the accents. It's 4 feet tall. It will be 70 feet long. And we would like to place it at the fence alongside Moore Road to hide the beautiful pond. So, so anyone coming onto campus, this is what they'll see when they pull in on Moore Road. It would say Home of the Bears. So everyone knows where they are. The Go Bear sign, we've opted to try to put on the inner track, if you've been there, on the other side. So it would actually be by the opponent's bleachers facing in, and that would be 4 feet tall as well, with the red, white, and blue color scheme. So we would like to buy these two signs and put them up. They are permanent. The colors last for years. If you've gone to other schools, like Sullivan West, they have them up. They've had them for years. But this is what we would like to do. And with that being said, in the future, hold fundraising events to try to raise more money to get a claw, a bear head, to put on other fences. But these are the two we'd kind of like to get done for homecoming. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions? Or?
Yes.
I like the photo here. It Home of the Bears has lighting. That's great. I'm going to use this. Thank you.
So we just want to know if we can get approval to go ahead and order this evening, if it's something you'd like us to purchase and donate to the school.
I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely. It's going to look great.
Fantastic idea.
Thank you very much.
Then go order it.
Yeah.
What's that?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you order?
Thank you.
Just like the acceptance of the other gifts.
Do you know what the cost is?
They're paying.
Even better.
So just to put it up. Okay. Yeah. Looks nice. Okay, next up is Superintendent Erin Long.
Good evening, everyone. I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Kloss, Mr. Pulley, and Ms. Williams for your presentations tonight. We can see that there are some great things happening here at Tri-Valley, and it really stems from your leadership. Last Saturday through Tuesday, I had an opportunity to attend the New York State New Superintendents Conference, as well as the New York State Council on School Superintendents Conference. A wealth of learning. It was an excellent opportunity to collaborate with colleagues, and I really attended a ton of sessions, learning even more. But a special thank you to the board for letting me go, and then to our administrative team, of course, for running business as usual. Just another testament about how good the systems are here at Tri-Valley. Today, we met with Capital Region BOCES. We have completed our website audit. They gave us some suggestions, and we are going to begin to review their recommendations. Our goal, once we get our website finished and updated, is to hold an evening opportunity for families to come in so we can teach them how to navigate it better. Let's see. On October 11th, I will be at the Daniel Pierce Library from 10 to 11 for a cup and conversation with our community. Last week, I had the opportunity to tour the Daniel Pierce Library. It is absolutely beautiful, and I'm super excited to continue to partner with Jen Thomas and bring more opportunities to our students. Finally, I want to give a shout out to our fall athletes. I've been able to attend several of the games so far, and I am so impressed with their sportsmanship on the field and off. They are respectful athletes, they're good players, they're coachable, and it's really makes me proud to be able to say that, I'm leading this Tri-Valley School. I can't wait for tomorrow's football game tomorrow night. I've already talked a little smacks to Ellenville. So that's all.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Superintendent Wall. Next item on the agenda is number 8. Any items that the board wants pulled from the consent agenda? Okay, so we go to number 9, consent agenda. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Danielle, second by Pat. Please prepare to vote.
Yay.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved, the board approves the consent agenda. Recommended action, including the business portion, items 9A through M. Thank you. Next item up is board committee reports. Do we have anybody? The board, the audit, you're going to do the audit committee? Okay, you go ahead.
Okay. I think we got most respondents. Next Thursday night at 6 o'clock, the audit committee will be meeting. At that time, you'll be presented the audit report from our external auditors. The hope is that we can put that on the October 6th board agenda for adoption, because we do have to get it up to the state by August 15th. Unfortunately, Mr. Wood is not available to present that night, but he is happy to come on the 20th and present to the whole board, but the board committee will have the report next week. And then the last thing is, on the policy committee, as you're moving forward, I may have some information or have some requests to alter the current investments part of the policy committee. I've been working with a few different organizations, and we can go over it at that time.
Any questions?
Just a quick question. Audit committee is Wednesday, not Thursday.
You're right. Sorry.
Thursday's open house.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item 11, old business. I don't think we have any. Item 12, public comment session for items that are not on tonight's agenda. I don't believe we have anyone signed up to speak. Item 13, announcements, reminders, upcoming events. We have one.
On Saturday, October 22nd, the Grahamsville Fairgrounds will be hosting the Vet Fest 22. The Vet to Vet of Sullivan County is asking us permission to use our bus loop to set up for their parade, and then also our parking lot for overflow parking. So if everybody's okay with that, I will notify them.
They have all the proper insurances, correct? Right. So move.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is number 14, new business. We have extension of contract for pupil transportation with Rolling V for the 2022 to 2023 school year. Can I have a motion to accept the resolution for the pupil transportation contract with Rolling V for 2022, 2023?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Danielle. Any discussion?
Is that usual to take place in this September, or is that because of financial?
Annually, you're required to submit the contract transportation within 30 days of the start of school. This is usually the time of year, because of the dollars and cents, after we've ironed out that very start, how many contract buses are in place for the year. If it goes up or down, that's okay, but you just have to have it on file. So usually you'll see it just about this time every year.
Did we go out for fuel bid?
Yes, we did. Oh, that's correct. Last year we did a DCMO fuel bid. It was a long year to do that because of the volatility of fuel last year. Usually that takes place anywhere between December and early February. Last year, the bid actually went out in May. It wasn't pretty, but it's a lot prettier than what people were paying at the pump. Usually our prices are at least $1 plus more less than anybody else is paying, so it's worked out pretty good. The prices through DCMO beat state contract hands down every year, but it's a tough year, as we all know.
Anyone else? Okay, please proceed to vote. Okay, that's unanimous. And be it resolved, the board approves the extension contract for pupil transportation with Rolling V for the 2022-2023 school year. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the CSI third-party agreements. Can I have a motion to accept the CSI third-party agreements? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Pat, second
Second.
by Danielle. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Yay.
That's unanimous. Be it resolved, the board approves the CSI third-party agreements. Thank you. And the last item is number 15. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Just one question. Are there any new hires in the audience that we could be introduced to? I'd just like to say welcome.
No, there isn't.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Tim.
Second.
Second by Travis. Please proceed to vote. Are we missing anyone? George? Vote, please.
Yay.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
It's okay.
I thought they heard you say it.
I did.
You did.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.